Alright, we have made it. We are on the last phase of our long running journey on how to draw heads using the Loomis method. If you're new here, I'm Salman and I create art across various mediums. But let's be real, I'm still figuring things out too. So let me just take a recap of what we have done in the previous videos. Like, I have completed two major chunks of portrait drawing, the first one being head construction and the other one extreme angles. And after that, I have shown you a little of my process on how I tackle those extreme angles. And after all of those things, we are on the last phase where we take the Loomis head beyond just construction and make it communicate like your reference. And this is the point where your portraits will start looking like your chosen reference instead of a general Loomis mannequin. And we'll do that by studying these two references. Let's start with the second one first. And wait, don't just jump in and start drawing yet. There's something more crucial that we have to do before the pencil and paper collides, and that is to observe. See, the head in front of us doesn't follow the general proportions. So, our first mission would be to analyze how it is proportioned by comparing it to the general head measurements that we already know. And this is where I hit you with the ultimate question. How would you describe her face in words? I'll go first. According to me, her face is pretty elongated and slim. And actually, that much is enough to get an idea of how the process will shape up. But here's the fun part, you and I don't think in the exact same manner. So you might notice something different or even something better. And that's great because that's what makes you unique. So take a moment, analyze the reference, and trust your instincts. Let's make this Loomis head talk like your reference. Now, fix one thing on the paper. It can be the width, length, or anything that you can use to measure all of the other elements. Well, I prefer to plot a sphere and fix the width of the face. If you don't know where to start, I share my blueprint in my previous video on how to draw heads in any angle. Make sure to watch it. Moving ahead, I look for the outer edge of the eyebrow because that indicates the width of the chopped part. I do that by comparing the length of the chopped part to the length of non-chopped part, or you can say front plane. Since she is not looking up or down and just to her side, the eyebrow line will be running horizontally straight across the spear. And I also measure the angle that ear line and eyebrow line makes by just copying the angle from the reference. After that, I'll take the width of the face, which was fixed earlier, and compare it to the height of the face, which, if I measure correctly, is 1.5 times the width. Performing all of this calculation helps to place things on the paper since we don't use any grids or ruler to measure. Then I'll go ahead and plot the center line which divides the eyebrow line in two. Then I'll use one of those parts to compare to the other. So the left side is 2.5 times the right one. Let's predict it over here and measure. I took it a little wider. So let's go with this much. And yes, that's good. That's fine. Okay. Now I'll look for how the thirds are placed on her face. Obviously not equally proportioned. Her forehead is probably shorter than the others, and the bottom two are equal. Moving ahead, we'll be plotting this side of the jaw by ignoring all of the bumps on her face. And the way I do this is I first check the angle of the line using my pencil and draw the line at the same angle starting from the width of the face, which also gives us the point of chin. And for the other side, the same thing, but here we have two different angles. In that case, I try to compare the length on the other side of the face. So for the one emerging from the ear, it ends in between the nose and chin line, but a little lower to the exact midpoint. And then for the second angle, you have got 2 points where you can directly connect it or take a look at the angle and then connect it. Well, at this point, I feel like I made the length a little longer, but let's see. Now, the bumps are remaining. For that, I would mark the furthest point of the cheekbone, which extends after our predefined width, and connect it to the width with a slope. After that, you can see this point is exceeding this line we drew earlier, and all of the bumps on the human face are decided by the facial structure, mass, and much more, which are better described in Riley method, and that will take another video, hence I skipped that part. But for you guys, you can just plot the bumps as visible to you. Just remember to compare and measure. And after that, shaping the forehead and blocking in the shape of ear. Then I'll just mirror the bumps on the other side of her face too, which is not necessary. Then adding the neck. Well, I was feeling something's off, and after observing for a while, I got to know that I drew the jaw position a little too low, which made her face even more longer and also made the forehead wide. And that's okay if it happens to you. After all, we are humans, we can make mistakes. Let's take a look at the second one and ask our mind the same question. Okay, for this one, I've got so many things in my mind, like his big forehead due to receding hairline, prominent cheekbones and hollow cheeks, a slimmer jaw, all because of his age. The angle of his head is neither a proper three-quarter nor front. It's somewhere in the middle of them. Well, this time I'll be fixing the width. It will be width above the cheekbones. I don't know why, but it's just like I prefer to go this way. Then finding the chopped part, which on the right side is not that visible, but on the other side is pretty visible. And I'll use the same method to plot it. For the eyebrow line, in his case, is exactly at the center of the sphere. And the angle which it makes with the ear line is not that much, but just a tiny bit. Now I'll measure the length of the face using the width. This time let me be more clear with the instructions. Take the width on your pencil. Now keep your finger end on the chin and look where the tip ends. In his case, a little above the eyebrow. Keeping that in mind, plot the chin. Taking the width, placing the tip a little above the eyebrow, and then marking it as chin. And on the exact same point where the tip ended, place your finger end and check how much it is. A little more than half. So do the same thing on the paper and you are ready with your length. Let's go ahead and find the center line, which divides the eyebrow line exactly from the middle in his case. Plotting the thirds, instead of assuming the hairline anywhere, take the whole forehead, which is clearly longer than the other two, which are similar to each other. Checking if I placed it correct by comparing with forehead. For him, I won't plot the shape of jaw. Instead, I'll go straight to point the cheekbones, which extends then my decided width, and then angles down till the nose line. Drop the jawline down and look where the other one angles or turns, near to the lips or between the nose and chin. If you're not good at it, use straight lines to indicate the form. That's easier to control and plot because in the beginning, if you try to do it in this manner, it will just exhaust you. A better way would be to practice the head as I showed you in one of my previous videos. For the other side, performing the same calculations, making sure the angle is right, dropping the jawline down and matching the turning point. And then for the second half, it's also divided in two angles. Well, I'm eyeballing it this time. Now, I would plot the shape of ear, ignoring the form and all of those bumps. And then I'll define the shape of his forehead, starting from the top of cheekbones and making sure it appears slim, long, and pointy. And then his spiky hairstyle, which I'm finding the best thing to exaggerate and design. Well, I love to add some extra lines which defines the structure more clearly. But these lines are not exactly there in Loomis method. It's just like I find it awesome. And after all of those things, adding the neck gives another feel. This is it. And here we have the two heads that we practiced earlier. Pretty awesome, right? And I bet yours looks great too. But hey, if it's not quite there yet, you know what? It's probably one of the two things. Either the Loomis method still needs to click, or you just need more practice. And trust me, I have been there. When I first started it, my drawings looked pretty rough too. But here's what helped me using a drawing app with layers. I would overlay my sketch layer onto the reference image, spot the gaps, and fine tune it. This made a huge difference. And surely I will do a deep dive on this technique in an upcoming lesson because I think that reference studying didn't got enough spotlight in this video. So if you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Stay creative, take care, and I'll see you again.